Well, I've had quite a morning. I have been up since about 4:30 in the morning. I've cooked some ramen soup, and I'm sure many of you know who Chelsea Handler is. I am so out of it. I don't watch TV really. I don't follow much of anything because I can't follow the news. It's just too difficult for me sometimes that I really am completely out of it. Anyway, hello, privilege. It's me, Chelsea. It's all about white privilege. And she interviews a bunch of white people, a bunch of people of color about their experience or knowledge of what white privilege is. Why is this so important to me? My name is Kathleen Dowd. I practiced in maternal health my entire 30 plus year career. I helped change legislation in California to improve access to midwifery care as a strategy to improve outcomes, and especially for people of color. Black and Indigenous people have much higher maternal mortality rates and near misses and infant mortality rates than white people. It's profoundly different, and that is because of the institutional racism that we have in this country. That might be really hard to hear. There's no pretty way to say it, and I think a lot of white people don't want to hear those words, but that is the reality. Because of that, I started the California Nurse Midwives Foundation. We try to improve outcomes by assisting with education of midwives of color, supporting community-based projects in communities of color and by midwives of color, and by supporting advocacy in the state. Anyway, back to why I started this. All of you white folks out there, do you believe in white privilege? I want you to answer that question in your own head, and then I want you to think about how would you know what it feels like to, or what white privilege is, because as a white person, you have absolutely never experienced it. But for Black individuals, they experience it every day, every single day. If you think that there's no such thing as white privilege, I want you to think of whether you've ever been pulled over on the highway while you're driving your car, minding your own business and doing nothing wrong. Have you ever had a family member who was incarcerated for a offense where a white person would have done the same thing and they would have gotten a small slap on the wrist or a little probation? These things are real in the Black community. And this is not because of anything Black people do. It's because white people have created a system. And this is not about shame. This is not about making anybody feel bad. It is about the fact that we need to change our behavior. We need to change our institutions. We all need to vote, and we all need to know that these are real factors and take that into consideration when we vote for the people that we vote for. I come from an extremely privileged background of generations of doctors. Even my great-grandmother was a doctor and anesthesiologist, probably one of the first that was ever educated in San Francisco. Bless her heart. She also had 6 children, and God knows how she did it all. But I can tell you that my kids were in school in the Kentfield School District in Marin County, probably one of the richest school districts in the country. And I remember my son and I came up with an idea. Richmond is right across the bridge, and that is probably one of the poorest school districts, at least in California. And we had a foundation that supported our school and our programs and our kids. We raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we tried to encourage the foundation to ask folks if they wanted to not only support our kids, but have a matching donation for the school across the bridge. We were going to call it Bridge the Gap or something like that. There is another program in Marin called Bridge the Gap. So that wasn't probably going to work, but talked to the foundation, the board of the foundation, and they were concerned that they had to raise too much money that year, and they were afraid that that would not be good because we wouldn't be able to raise as much money as we needed. Another example of this is I worked for Kaiser Napa Solano. All my friends out there who work there, I'm sorry. I am done dealing with these issues and not saying anything about them. We had a very large population of color, especially Black individuals in Vallejo. We were an all-white midwifery service, and many other people who supported this effort to diversify our workforce. And there were a lot of people who were just like, well, we give the same kind of care to everybody we care for. We give quality care to everyone. But if you know the statistics and you know that Black people die 3 to 4 times more than white people during the maternal health birth postpartum period, if you know that infant mortality is, I think, 2 to 3 times higher for babies of Black mothers within the first year of life, these statistics have only gotten worse over time, even though we've been working on them. In California, we've lowered our maternal mortality rate significantly, but not the difference between Black women and white women and other communities of color as well. It's not just Black women. So all these institutions put out there in their public-facing materials how they value diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's such a common phrase. But when it comes to actually doing what it takes to really diversify and be equitable, it costs money. And many institutions will talk the talk, but they will absolutely not walk the walk. We had to fight and fight and fight to hire Black midwives. We had to fight really hard to make that change. So it's not just about talking about, yes, I believe in this. It's about taking the steps that are necessary to level the playing field. And by leveling the playing field, that doesn't mean treating everybody the same. That means uplifting people who have been discriminated against and dealt with racism their entire lives for generations and generations. It is so frustrating. Within our communities and within our world, we look around and we think, I live in such a beautiful community. Everybody is so kind and takes care of each other. Well, we need to stop just thinking about taking care of our own communities and think outside of our communities, not our white privileged communities, but let's uplift everyone and give everyone the support and the funds and the resources and the equality that they deserve.